Good afternoon, everyone. This is Olivia with the Wildcat Sanctuary behind the camera here. Of course, this is Tammy here with Kiara. We are doing a Wednesday Wildcat wrap-up today. So that kind of goes together, Wednesday Wildcat wrap-up, a good alliteration. Because tomorrow is our final day to give to the max. We have some other fun things planned, but I'll let you get into it, Tammy. I'm here as your tripod today, and I'm excited.
I feel bad. I haven't been able to talk to anybody for about a week and a half. I lost my voice completely when Olivia and I attended the Captive Wildlife International Conference at PAWS, and luckily my voice held out through my presentation, barely, and I gave a presentation on the small cat crisis, and then it gave out, and I have not been able even to do a whisper. So urgent care, some steroids, I'm back on the mend, and I'm so happy to be here and be able to talk to you guys about what's been going on. So weekly wrap up, I mean, first and foremost, we got to touch on Give to the Max. You guys have already generously came forward so much to have us meet that double match and open the triple match. And the triple match is 3 days only, now through November 21st. So just wanting to remind everybody, you know, the generous gifts mean so much, but we always want to give something back to you. So everybody that gives $100 or more will get that beautiful photo and paw print from Jax, who has left us but is always with us in spirit. And we also have everybody that gives is entered into an on-site experience. So we'll be choosing those winners right before Thanksgiving. And we've added another bonus. We have this wonderful, Jax did some paw paintings for us. And we have 5 paw paintings, and all of them have like totally the paw prints. And with a photo that will be going, sorry, this is a protective clear coat on there right now. With another real photo of Jax. And so in addition to all those other gifts, 5 people who give anytime during Give to the Max will be entered into a drawing to win this one-of-a-kind original piece and just a keepsake of such a special boy. And why Jax is our poster child for Give to the Max is it's really about mending the broken. You guys help us do that. And when we kind of came up with that theme, it was just everything we were going through at the sanctuary, all the cats we were seeing, the geriatric cats that keep coming to us, those on the euthanasia list, the hybrids. And so it just really, really was right. And Jax was unexpected, and everything we had to do and you helped us do to try and save him is really about mending the broken. And in the end, we can't always fix everything, but there are miracles we've performed because of your help so often. I want to touch on a few things that we would love your help on. Not only is it a triple match now, but Lucy. You guys helped us bring Lucy from Argentina. It took several years. We do know that her elbow is a lot worse off than we anticipated. We do know that she is having some kidney issues. But our next step is Silencia. It has been wonderful for cats with arthritis, and it's a sub-Q injection, and it's about $200 a month for her weight. The good news is Dr. Campbell and Elise gave it the other day, and she was so over the moon just to get a back scratcher in there that she allowed all that sub-Q injection with no issues. So it'll be a couple weeks before we know how that helps, but we know that's not enough, but it's really going to make her comfortable. So when you give $200 a month, will cover that medication for her as long as she needs it. So if you give $200, you're actually covering 3 months worth with the triple match. But we want to do more for Lucy. She really deserves a fighting chance, because if that leg goes, that's the decision for Lucy. And so we've looked at stem cell. Remember, we did that for baby Jenga and gave him some extra relief and some longevity. And so we are needing to do some tiger stem cells in that elbow that hopes will regenerate some of that joint and then also take down inflammation. And then a benefit we saw with baby Jenga is also helped his kidney values. That is $600 just to get the stem cells from the lab. But wow, is that a bargain to help Lucy? So I am really hoping that I can get a $600 donation to cover the cost of Lucy's stem cells today. And then on top of that, we have the exam and all the blood work we have to do. So another $1,000 on the exam. So I'm asking for a lot, but it's for a very special tiger. And if you give even $100 towards it, it becomes $300. So definitely looking for that. And we will keep you updated. And if we do the stem cell procedure, we will bring you right there live with us so you can see that. And then we're hoping to see some advanced results in 6 to 8 weeks after that. And that's not even it. We're even looking at some radioactive new treatments that can really help Lucy too. But those are upwards of $5,000 per treatment. And Lucy's definitely worth the cost, but we want to make sure her kidneys and body are strong enough for a procedure like that. So right now, the Solensi at $200 a month, and then the stem cell, which is a one-time $600 commitment, is what we're looking for. You can give at our website. You can give on this Facebook link. You can give by calling in at 320-245-6871. And before I get into the weekly wrap up, the nitty gritty of what's been going on at the sanctuary, remember to tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow is the big Give to the Max Day. We are going to have volunteers here, staff here. Judson and Olivia are going to be with you from sunrise to sunset. And of course, Sally and I will be answering phones to over midnight tomorrow to make sure we capture every donation you give for the cats. And we'll also have some power hours where some special people will be answering phones that you might get to talk to in person. So don't miss out tomorrow here on Facebook. But let's talk about what's been going on at the sanctuary. It has been busy. We've been going to conferences. Jackie went to the Cheetah Conference and is bringing that back. Olivia went to the Big Cat Sanctuary Alliance Conference and brought us a lot of information there. We went to the Performing Animal Welfare Society and met with people from around the world that are doing really impactful work for big cats, elephants, roadside zoos, try and close them down. So that's amazing. During that conference, we saw the small cat crisis happen. In Missouri, a car accident happened where 2 servals were part of that car accident, were injured. Sadly, we stepped up, Turpentine stepped up, Big Cat Sanctuary Alliance stepped up, and sadly, one of the servals had to be euthanized due to broken legs. It looks like those broken legs was not only from the car accident, but was severe metabolic bone disease like we see in so many of our servals. And the second serval went to a drive-through roadside zoo, which is not what we wanted to see. So other sanctuaries, the Big Cat Sanctuary Alliance, and so many other advocates stepped up and have really fought to get that serval released to an accredited sanctuary after the holding period versus living its life at the zoo, especially if it has metabolic bone disease. And so we've seen 1 or 2 news articles that say that is going to happen, but we're still crossing our fingers until that serval crosses a threshold of accredited sanctuary. It is still at risk. We've seen many more Bengal calls. We have a couple more Bengal calls on the waiting list. And why we're doing that and wanting to make sure Catio Town is full for the cats that really need it, Harley the Bengal here, and we'll let sponsors know if this works out, but Harley has been moved to one of the intern houses to see if he can live amongst the people. And so far, we're on day 2, he's using his litter box. Now, we know Puma used his litter box for about a week and then didn't and had to come back to the sanctuary. But again, if we can place some of our Bengals in our Bobcat, we call them Bobcat and Lynx intern houses, or other areas of the sanctuary, that allows us to take some of those Bengals and Savannahs that are currently on our waiting list. And that waiting list is astronomical right now. On top of that, we welcomed 4 new residents. So many of you stepped up yesterday to donate to their first year of care. And I want to talk a little bit more about them, but also knowing that Pinga and Rio have 2 sponsor parents now, but Onyx and Ozark don't have any. And I know that's not because you guys didn't step up, because you did and gave that generous gift to their lifetime care. But if any of you want a more personalized relationship with one of the rescue residents here, sponsoring is the best way, and it also counts towards the triple match. So it'd be nice if Ozark and Onyx at least got 1 or 2 sponsors. I always feel guilty when they don't have that personal parent that we get to send updates to. So that would be awesome. I know there's been a few questions on their background and that, you know, how old they are. And I think Olivia and Judson have done a great job answering that. We're all well cared for. We did get a rescue call and asked what space we had available for certain animals in need. And at that time, I was under the impression when other sanctuaries call us, it's usually because we're referring rescues because they're full, or there might be a specialty, like we do small cats at another facility, or it might be they're facilitating a large rescue and they're looking at placements across the country. So of course we said that what space we had available. And it wasn't until the cats actually arrived on our property that we found out they were actually residents of the Texas location of a sanctuary. And so we still would have probably said yes to help because it's what we do. But we just want anybody to know that if there's caretakers at the facility they came from that were surprised that they got placed or rehomed, definitely reach out to us. We know how much caretakers love the residents they care for, and we would love to keep that communication open. You know, the more we know about these 4 wonderful cats, the better we can provide lives for them here. So we're thankful for any information previous staff members of that closed facility gave us. But again, we weren't aware we were taking in rehomed cats from another sanctuary that was moving or consolidating their animals to a site. So, but we're going to give them the love and attention they deserve, and we're happy that they're with us, and we're so excited to get to know them. So some other things that have been going on. Media has been here like crazy, and I have to do a shout out for Judson and Olivia. Media is usually I get in front of the camera and talk, and for the last, I don't know, couple weeks, and even prior to that, I have not been available based on other priorities, based on me being sick. And Judson and Olivia have stepped in and do an awesome job representing the Wildcat Sanctuary. And to get more exposure out on Catio Town, get more exposure out on the new land that we moved or that we purchased is just amazing. We had 2 more media outlets, one yesterday, one today. I had another reach out. It is so nice that people are really invested in what we're doing here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. And I definitely have some big plans for that new land. And of course, many of you heard about it. A lot of it is about giving back to nature for many reasons. One is we're rescuing wildcats here, but we can't become a 500 animal facility. We are about individualized care, taking in the ones that need us the most, taking in the ones that others often have to say no to with health issues, behavioral issues. So we can't get too big. But also, we took 40 some acres away from wildlife to save our captive wildlife. So we feel responsible to give back. We also, to the wildlife here. And if you saw those pictures of the bears and the bobcats, to see bobcat at a creek and enjoying life, and the deer we've seen, and even other, we've seen fishers, which is crazy.
That's really cool.
And so it's just really, really important that we respect wildlife. But it's also important that we get to use that land in a way that benefits our sustainability for years to come, meaning that natural buffer zone, the anti-hunting zone, but also a way that will engage donors and supporters. So I can't share much with you because it's in the beginning planning stages, but it is about nurturing the soul of those that nurture the sanctuary. And so we will be able to share those plans over the next year with you and know that we will continue to respect and provide a home for the wildlife there. That doesn't mean we won't take a little piece of that land and do direct benefits to the sanctuary, like a workshop we need for all the equipment you've given us. We also are looking at some species-specific habitats, especially for unreleasable wildlife that can live more wild versus in such a controlled, I would say, positive micromanagement environment we give, because we are always, giving enrichment, giving medications, checking on them and everything. And we have a few cats that would prefer a little bit of wild space and maybe a less human intervention. And so we're looking at that. So stay tuned over, the next year or so. But when you give to the max, and during appeals like this, you make your gift go so much further so that we can be sustainable for years to come. We've had another life-saving I would say, mending the broken here at the sanctuary that you helped us. So not only have you seen the geriatric losses we've had, I'm going to be sharing with you over the next couple of weeks the ages of the cats and how many are over 17 and who they are. Because you hear it anecdotally on Facebook and through social media, but to see that chart, to see the amount of time and energy and medication and care that is given to these older guys, why making sure we don't neglect or skimp on the healthy young cats is just also wrapped up in mending the broken. Because even though being old isn't a disease, it definitely takes more care, and we want to make sure that they're comfortable, because it's always about the quality of days, not the quantity. But when I looked at that chart, because of your support, we've been able to give so many cats both. So many cats living older than I've ever seen in our history here at the sanctuary. So it was surprising to us when we went out one day and Beauty the lynx, so if you're a sponsor parent of Beauty, you should have received an email this week with this update. But during all those losses and Hearts Heavy, it was really hard on us to see a 5-year-old resilient cat kind of go off her food and get picky. And because she's such an avid hunter and gets wildlife in that open habitat enclosure we give her, at first we weren't too concerned because she had a lot of fluff on her and she was catching some things. So at first it didn't seem like anything was wrong. But when it went on a little longer than we would have thought would be normal, we intervened right away. And I went down there and looked at her one night, and it was probably at like 5:15, right before dark. And I just said, she looks crappy, and I'm not comfortable waiting till tomorrow. So I called our vet team, our operations director, our caretakers were here, Elise came in, everybody came in right before dark to sedate a lynx, to bring her up to the hospital, and to see what was going on. We were shocked when we did her blood work and saw that she was in acute renal failure. Her renal numbers were off what the blood machine could read, which means nothing was processing. Her specific gravity was at 100, which means her kidneys weren't working at all. We knew we were in life-saving measures right now. The hard thing is we didn't know what was causing acute renal failure in a healthy cat. And this is stressful because we have just lost and said goodbye to other cats, and now we have a healthy cat, and it was not fair that this was happening out of left field on a cat that is so resilient. So we sedated her. We threw the kitchen sink at her, and I'm so grateful for a vet team that's willing to take a leap of faith when we don't have answers and give antibiotics, give tons of sub-Q fluids to push through her, give her anti-nausea medication. And then the next day, she was still down in the dumps. The next day, my question to our vet team was, if you worked at an emergency clinic like you have, and this was a dog or cat, what would be the recommendation? And they said, this is intensive care. This is IV catheters. This is fluids nonstop. This is antibiotics nonstop for at least 72 hours or more to see if this animal could survive. And of course, we can't put all these catheters in her. We did it with Shadow when we were able to do life-saving for Shadow, but Shadow was amenable. Beauty has a mind of her own. And so we had to weigh the options of sedating her every day, which is hard on her kidneys because her mobilization drugs are processed through the kidneys, and losing her that way. Trying to get her to eat on her own, but if we couldn't get enough meds and fluids into her, we'd lose her that way. And so the decision was, she's 5 years old, we are going to take the most aggressive approach we can. And so for 3 days, almost 4 days total, we sedated her each day. We gave her a whole liter of fluids. We gave her antibiotics. And we were right now not knowing if she had a kidney infection or if she had something she contracted from wildlife, like leptospirosis, which is from wildlife in the urine, and can be very deadly, and we've seen a rise of it all over the Midwest. And so we had to treat both ways, because by the time you get those tests back, your cat's no longer with you. And so again, one of the antibiotics was injectable, the other had to be taken orally, and she wasn't eating. So we had to tube feed those antibiotics in her belly while she was sedated, which they can aspirate, things like that, do the fluids. And within 4 days, this team had this girl eating on her own, drinking on her own, taking her antibiotics that she needed on her own. And now we've been in almost 30 days of critical care. And I can tell you the reason we didn't go public sooner is we wanted answers. We wanted to know what we were dealing with. We wanted to focus on her. We also have to be cautious when we get an unknown like this with a healthy cat, if this is something contagious to other cats. So out of necessary precaution and talking to other sanctuaries and talking to universities and sending out tests, we kind of did a lockdown here at the sanctuary. We didn't go in habitats anymore in case there was a cross-contamination. We sanitized every time we went in and out of a building or in and out of a building room. We changed clothes. We put her enclosure on quarantine. And I'm happy to say that as of yesterday, she looks like a healthy cat again. She went back out into Cougar Cove. She's in her rooms now for another week before we give her access to the yard. We will sedate her again when we feel her kidneys can take it to see if there's any permanent damage. Right now, we don't know, but if she's eating on her own, drinking on her own, appearing healthy, that is all really good. And I can't tell you the amount of crying and tears and stress and discussions when you're dealing just like with Jax, an unknown of trying to mend a broken cat, how much cost went into that for testing and drugs. And we didn't do an emergency appeal because we needed for our sanity and the sanctuary sanity and beauties to just focus strictly on her. So again, when you give to our general campaigns like Give to the Max, that allows us to go right into emergency mode, right into shutting things down if we need to, right into buying supplies, right into paying people time and a half for being here overnight checks for her and doing life-saving care. And so thank you from the bottom of my heart. And this, we're hoping, is a win-win. I can say I'm not a vet, but I can say I feel 85% confident that Beauty is going to be with us a long time because of all those interventions. So the test results are still inconclusive. We sent out to UC Davis. We sent out to the University of Minnesota. It could be lepto, which there's so many strains. You get a lot of negatives. She got some positives, but the titers were low. It still could be an acute kidney infection from one of the wildlife she ate. So we're taking some precautions on top of it. We cannot eliminate all the wildlife in our area, especially when we want them living wild at heart in free roaming habitats. But we can put, for the cats like Beauty that are really good hunters, that we can put up mesh around the outside wall of the enclosure. We might move her to a different enclosure that has less access to the swamp area, which is the wildlife's favorite area, and things like that. And there's nothing we could have done to prevent this, but the fast reaction is what saved her life, and your donations have saved her life. So thank you for that. That's been going on, and getting ready for Give to the Max Day has been going on, and getting ready for year-end appeal, the cats getting out on the catios, getting ready for Rio and Pinga and Ozark and Onyx, because we redid all their bungalows in quarantine. And then we've moved, and we'll probably do updates for sponsors, but some of these moves are just lateral moves, so we don't do a sponsor update. But we've moved some older cats like Bella and Benson, because Benson is losing his eyesight and he's losing some mentation. And so we wanted him in a spot we could care for him better. And Bella, has her issues too. So we're always making changes for the geriatric care. Today we have volunteers here taking down the platforms in Lavani's old enclosure that were really dilapidated, but Lavani loved them, so we didn't want to move them, and building a new structure for the next animal that will get a new lease at life in there. So as we say goodbye, we also welcome new, but some of our news are now our oldest residents on the property. So we don't know how long they'll be with us. We know they appear healthy, but kidneys and stress and move, anything can change. But we're so thankful and grateful that you welcome them with open arms too, and that you never ask us, why did you take a 25-year-old? Because we know when we're asked to help, there's a reason we were asked to help, whether we specialize in that or We specialize in special cats. We're just happy that we have the space to welcome 400 residents. So we'll continue to give you more updates. Olivia, is there anything I'm missing that you can think of?
No, you did awesome.
And I had time to decorate for
Yes, you did decorate. We'll do a little, pan here, but no, I think you covered it. I mean, there's been a lot going on, and that was a lot to cover, and we're excited. It's exciting going into Give to the Max Day and tomorrow when we get to kind of share the happy things and show what those donations are going towards. So I'm really looking forward to it.
The life-saving work does not end when we rescue. It ends through their entire care here, and you guys get to relish in those happy endings just like we do, because you're the ones that make it possible.
Well, perfect. Thank you, Tammy. All right, everyone, get ready for tomorrow. I'm so glad we got to catch up, Tammy. And until then, we'll see you. Bye, everyone.